Okay, let's try this one more time. Hello, hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, where I help you look, start, and grow your online business. Welcome. Yuppity yup. T Money is in the house. So I am pretty sure if the sound is no bueno, T Money will let me know. Other than that, we are gonna rock and roll. I think I got the lighting and the sound down, which is amazing. I know it's amazing. So this is a question that you may ask a whole bunch of people a lot if you're especially in my space in my profession, and that is, how much do you want to make? Like, how much would you want to make to make this work for you? That's a pretty common question that I didn't see the first time I was it wouldn't let me go live on other channels, so that's why I had to cut it off. It just was stuck on other platforms. So you get this, you ask, excuse me, you ask this question, and you go, how much is enough? How much would you want to make this work for you? To make it worth your while, if you would. Let's say if somebody has a full-time job, or has 18 jobs, and 18 wives and 18 kids and 18 dogs and all that stuff, then you know they probably are telling you they don't have a whole lot of time. They don't, and for them to actually partake this and actually do this, it has to be what, worth their while. And one question that you can ask is, well, how much do you need to make for it to be worth your while? Now, you're gonna get a bunch of answers, and I'm gonna tell you. Um, I'm going to tell you a few of them. Okay. One of them is the obvious, like, sarcastic, answer. Well, like, the guy is, or the gal is just like being really sarcastic. Like, in a way, they're throwing out something they know you're not even close to, kind of wanting to put you down, ridicule you in a way. Does that make sense? Right? You feel me on that one? So, they just throw like a weird number, or they come back with a weird answer, like, how much are you making? Right? Which I've talked about in the past before. But let's say that they come back and they give you some number like 10,000 a month or 20,000 a month, right? Now, in network marketing, in my space, if you would, um, when you ask that question, when you ask how much do you want to make, how much do you want to make, or how much would it be worth your while, to do this, usually the answer usually is 10,000 a month. Okay, usually. Now, some say 20, some say 5, some say 500. I tell you what, the closer to 1,000 it is, it's more realistic. You hear me? The closer, Jenny, Samir, Pete, what up? So the closer to $1,000 that the response is, the more true it is. When somebody says 10,000 a month and 20,000 a month, now hear me out. In most cases, I'm not saying in all cases, in most cases, they haven't even made 10,000 a month in their own job, and they're throwing you 10,000 a month in network marketing. which is usually about 1.5 to 2 times the amount to a paycheck. Like if you're making $1,000 in network marketing, it's equivalent to making 1,500 to 2,000 a month on a paycheck, right? So when somebody says 10,000 a month, most likely they are not, or they even haven't ever made 10,000 a month on a paycheck. That's $120,000 a year. That's not chump change, right? So when somebody says that, when somebody says, 10,000, 20,000, what would you say? What would be good to say that you don't turn the person off, right? Because if they do have some goals and some dreams, you don't want to like shoot it down, be sarcastic and shoot it down, right? At the same time, you want to make sure that the expectations are set properly. So important, you guys. Okay. This is very, very important. I'm giving you some, releasing the bag of secrets to my cell, right? My sales life. I've been in sales for a long time. This is golden stuff, what I'm sharing with you. So the first thing is that when somebody throws you anything, the first what I would share with you is you don't want to react. You don't want to like jump. Whatever complaint they have, whatever objection they have, whatever it is, okay? They say this product doesn't make me grow a third arm. Like, don't go, what? Of course, no. Just whatever, right? So when they throw you with something like a $10,000, $20,000 a month, be prepared. This is your next step. If you don't ask these two questions, you're not gonna like life if this person joins your team. This is what you got to do. The next two questions are crucial, and here's what I always ask. Yeah, I wrote it down so I can read it off to you. Yeah, I like that 10,000 a month. That would be nice. Actually, I know a few people who are making that, right? I'm going to, I'm sorry, I read the wrong place. I'm going to ask you the next question they asked me, and that is, what and how much are you willing to give up and sacrifice to earn that? This is so powerful. Okay. How much, what and how much are you willing to give up and sacrifice to earn that? Earn, right? And you wait for the answer. How much are they willing to sacrifice? What are they willing to give up? You got to give up something. The other day, a friend of mine asked, "Hey, what teams are playing?" Right? And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's all like, "Football. It's on." I go, "Oh, I didn't even know. Like, I didn't know. Right? I didn't know. I don't pay attention to that. Let alone know that what teams, right? So what are you willing to give up? And how much are you willing to sacrifice? How much are you willing to sacrifice? Are you going to sacrifice all in for the first like 62 hours? And they say, well, you know what? I sacrificed enough. I'm good. Didn't work out, huh? Well, right? You got to set the expectation right. And if they come back and say, you know what? I'm willing to give up my 2 hours of TV a day, and I'm willing to sacrifice whatever it takes. I'm willing to do it. Okay, yeah, that's good. But but if somebody comes back with a like a smiling emoji or says ha 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 or nothing, well, you already know. Would you hire that person as an employee if you had a company? So let's say you're interviewing somebody, right? And you say, "What are your income goals?" And they say, "Well, I want to make 10,000," because this is an actual conversation. This is an actual question that I would ask somebody who would want to come in and work for me, right? I would sit there and say, "What are your income goals?" And they would say like 10,000 a month. I said, "All right, what are you willing to do? Well, how much are you willing to sacrifice?" Like this is not you come in at like 9 o'clock and leave at 5 o'clock if you want to make 10 grand a month. Those people don't make that money. You got to be here at 6 o'clock, go home at 8. Can you do that? And they ask, well, if I were to do that, would I make 10? I said, well, the people who make 10 do those hours. Now, are there some people who do those hours and don't make 10? Yes. But there's nobody who makes 10 and doesn't do those hours, which means the rest is what? Depends on your skills. You got to sharpen that axe, baby. You got to grow your skills. You got to get good at stuff that you do, right? Why would you stink at the things you do? So the thing is, you get good at it, right? But when somebody comes in and says, I had a, you know, so some of you guys actually know these stories, some of these stories you were like in the office with me. But if somebody said to me, I want to make that much, and I've had a lot of kids that would tell me that, there was a person that came in one Saturday, didn't come in, like he was late, called in, made all these excuses, and once he got in, it was late. And once he got in, I told him to pack up his stuff and get out, leave, box your stuff out. You're not here to make 10,000, bro. You're not. Out. I fired him. Right? I know. I was a little rough back then. Sometimes I'm still rough. But the point is, if somebody says to you, I want to just make $500, would you tell them, hey, you know what? You need to quit your job, sell your house, move to the mountains, live in a cave, and I'll help you do it? No, you wouldn't. You would say, oh, okay, well, maybe about, I don't know, half an hour a day, a couple, I'll help you out. No big deal. Right? Somebody comes up and says, hey, I want to make 2,000 a month. You're like, okay, well, you got to up your game a little bit more than the last guy that was going to make $500 a month. Right? And it just goes up. So when somebody says 10, 20, I just want to know, hey, what are you going to do? You will, are you going to like work? Or like, I'll end with this. I'll give you this little story. When I was in mortgages, when I got into mortgage industry, the very first like week, right? Let's say, obviously I didn't know. I had no clue what was going on. I talked myself into the company. Shocker, right? I was so persistent in the. Anyway, when I got in, I didn't know what the heck was going on. Like I literally had no clue. But I did 14, 15, 16, sometimes literally 17 hours in the office, just trying to learn from this person, that person, reading pamphlets, reading all these rate sheets, all these guidelines, just read all day, literally. At the same time, not at the same time, during this day, I'd make about 150 to 250 phone calls. No joke. Some of you guys know those stories. You were in the office with me, right? So It took me 10 months. Like I didn't make any money for 10 months. And then my first check was 36,000. I made 100,000 in 3 months, right? And it wasn't because, oh, overnight, I just decided to go to the office at 6 o'clock in the morning. No, I busted my butt for 10 months. I got laughed at. People joked. People laughed at me. They said, you can't close a deal, all kinds of stuff. I had my own, they had made a drawer. I've told the story. They had made a drawer and they had written on it, Sean's cancellation drawer. I literally had my own drawer for all the files that I would get in and I couldn't get them through. Right? And so when the vice president or even the owner of the company would walk by a couple of times, this is a long story, would walk by, when they would see me working, the only person working in the office at like 10 o'clock at night and the janitors are ready to close, he wouldn't turn around and say, oh, this guy just wants to be here for the $8 an hour. That's not what he said. Right? He knew I wasn't there for $8 an hour. He knew I was there because of these guys who were saying, what, you're making like this money. I'm like, that's what I'm here for. Right? And the same thing goes here. You got to be able to stand tall, firm, and ask, hey, okay, you want to make 10? I know I want to make 10. Jenny here, I know she wants to make 10. She busts her off all day. You see her work during the day, you wouldn't say, oh, this girl just wants to make like $10 today. No. Why? Because you can see her like working. Right? So when you know that's I don't know what it's going to take. So you tell the person, hey, listen, it doesn't take. You can't just sign in and sit there, kumbaya, my lord, to 10,000 a month. I've tried for 8 years. It hasn't worked. So you can't do that. Right? So when these people throw this stuff at you, I want you to not be affected. Doesn't matter what they say. Here's the bottom line. Either you have an answer or you don't, right? Answer. Not like you're going to take a hammer and beat them down and, no, you're buying this. No, either you have an answer or you don't. And that's it. I mean, that's the end of the conversation, right? Either they get it or they don't. They say, oh, I want to make 10,000 a month. I'm like, great, let's bring you in. And then they don't do anything. And then they hate me for life, right? I'm like, well, what do you say? Hey, listen, calm down. Are you like willing to work, or are you going to get like all like sad and cry and get hurt when somebody says, oh, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? So you've got to have some real heart-to-heart conversations with people. I cannot encourage that enough. It's not about the objections. It's about how you handle the objections. Okay. It's how you're postured against them. It's how you just not affected. Your product is expensive? Yeah. Duh. Your product is this? Yeah. I mean, yeah. What else do you want me to tell you? Either you have an answer, you can back up your explanations and your thoughts, or you can't. Right? And that's all it takes. So when people throw you this stuff, first of all, be comfortable to ask that question. That's an important question. How much do you want to make? How much would it make this worth your while? Right? You're going to do this part-time. How much would it take for this to actually work for you? Right? Oh, $600 a month. Great. Right? What are you willing to do? How much are you willing to sacrifice? I want to make a couple thousand a month. Again, same thing, right? I want to make 20,000 a month. That's when you get the more the it goes up, like I said, it gets further from the truth because it doesn't match up with the work effort. I'm telling you, work ethic. Somebody says 10,000, they usually come in and they don't do $10,000 a month work. I'm telling you, when I was in the mortgage industry, I didn't make $36,000 because I went to the office at 9 o'clock and left at 5. I was sometimes there before the door was even open at 5:45. Right? So the more the number goes up, the firmer you got to be, and the more persistent and accurate you got to be with your question, because you got to set the expectations correctly. I think one of the big misunderstandings with our profession is that we don't set the right expectations, and people just come in with all this the expectation, and then they just get it just doesn't meet them, and it doesn't help you. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't help you. It hurts the business. It hurts the profession. It hurts your company, your product, right? So I'm what I'm sharing with you is not something I used to practice. Let me tell you something. If I did this stuff 8 years ago, okay, no, I'm incorporating this stuff today, now. This is the now. This is the go time, right? And you got to be able to be just to have a conversation, heart to heart, just like, hey, real talk, hashtag real talk, bro or girl, right? Real talk. If that, and then you get some answers, and then you know who you're working with. And then you can always go back and reference to what they said. Hey, listen, man, I'm doing this because you told me what you wanted to make 10,000. So I think I beat that one to death because I think it's such an important question, and I think we get like right after the answer, but I want you to be able to handle that like bravely. I guess that's the answer. But so hopefully you guys got some love, some inspiration, some value from this. I appreciate you guys. If you guys out there into praying and any prayer warriors out there, I would definitely love some prayers. God knows what's up, and that's all that matters. So I appreciate that. If you feel like this is worthy of sharing, do what you got to do. Spread the love. Tag a couple people. And yeah, with that, I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, where I help you look, start, and grow your online business. Signing off until tomorrow when we do it all over again. Much love.